Hello again from my kitchen table. Today I'm going to show you how to draw the eye. So the eye is tucked into your head, and that causes a lot of shadows around your eyes. So you have to kind of remember that. The eyes actually have a lot of shading around them. Now this girl is wearing makeup in this picture, but the makeup actually kind of emphasizes where you're going to see some of those shadows. So we see it's really dark where it's tucked in, the skin sort of folds around your eyeball, and this is called the crease. You're also going to see shadows in the corners of the eye, actually on the white of the eyeball. And then down here we also see, again, the skin sort of folds under the eyeball, sort of wrapping around it. So when we actually think of like the eyeball, we're only seeing a very small part of it. And it's protected by your skull and sits back on your face. So if you look, your nose comes out the most and catches a lot of light, and then it makes a lot of shadows sort of around your eyes. And it's really cool. So your forehead protects your eyes, and your cheekbones stick out and protect your eyes. So you're gonna see a lot of more detail and stuff. We're also gonna draw an eyebrow. And the other thing I just want to make sure everyone knows is that the black or the center of your eye, the black hole is the pupil, and the colored part of your eye is called the iris. And if you look, the iris usually has a dark, you can go see it in the mirror right now with your own head. The iris is a little darker usually around the edge. So we're going to pick up on that. The other thing, last thing before I start drawing, is eyelashes. And I actually really do them last. And if you look, they usually create a shadow also on the surface of the eye and the actual white of the eye. And if you notice, it makes like a really thick band. So that's actually what I'll emphasize, is that this is getting darker. And then we might throw in some actual little hairs to indicate the eyelash. So let's get started. So you can start by drawing sort of the almond shape of the eye. Some people might even start like this. I'm going to press a little harder so you can see. Make sure the camera gets into focus here. Well, there we go. But you usually do have, let me just keep this on screen. You usually do have like an almond shape, like it's a little pointier at the corners like this. So you can start with that arc, and then this second arc. And sometimes I even tuck in the bottom arc so it's not quite lined up. The top arc will sort of pass at the edges here and tuck it in a little bit. There we go. These are called searching lines, and then I usually don't erase. I just lightly draw, and then I sort of darken the ones that I do like. And then, so this will be the right eye. So that's what we're looking at. So this is the right side of this person's face. So that means the corner of the eye is going to be right here. And we're going to make it pointier, but we're also going to sort of pull it down a little bit. So if you look, it angles down just a little bit. And that's where your tears would come out of, right? And then we're gonna, the other thing you can do is kind of make a little bit of a curve there, because this is usually darker right here. And then you can also make it pointier over here on this side. Okay. So right here, this top line is where your lashes will be. Okay, so once I like that, there we go. Next thing I'm going to draw is the crease, and that's this line back here. So sometimes you can just add, I don't like draw a long line, like I'm not going to go, it's not going to look like a rainbow over the top, but you're going to sort of just above, add a line, and what actually, especially in somebody older, what you might see is it goes, it curves up and then it sort of flattens out and then curves back down. So you might see that, and usually that when you draw it like that, I'm just going to erase to show you, it can look a little more natural. So it'll go up, and then sort of flatten out a little bit, and then go back down. And then we're going to draw the iris, and I like to draw a full circle. So let me draw it wrong for you so you can see. So if you just draw like an eye, let's say you get here, and then you draw the entire eye and the pupil, and then even if you do some lashes and stuff, you usually get like a bug-eyed kind of look. Like it just looks, we hardly ever show, unless we're like surprised, we hardly ever show the top part of the iris. What you need to understand is that the skin, the eyelid, is covering up most of the eye, so we don't really see like the whole thing at once. So let me just show you this guy here. And it usually covers up the top. Usually your top lid is the one that's opening and closing and a little more relaxed. You'd have to be like squinting for the bottom one to pop up. But if you look, he's got the top, more of the top and a little bit of the bottom being closed or covered up rather. And the other thing I would recommend is that you make it bigger than you think. So what I'm going to do is, let me get rid of this. What I'm going to do is draw a circle and kind of make it pop up. Again, I'm doing searching lines, so I'm kind of looking to see when it looks right. And I'm sort of filling the space. And I'm going around, and my elbow is off the table, and that's how I get circles. And I'm holding my pencil kind of lightly. I'm not like up here, and I'm not down. I'm not trying to sketch. I'm just lightly sort of searching, making circles, and I'm going up into the crease area. So the circle is actually really quite big. And then, like, I'll get rid of this, so we won't need that. And then I kind of end up with, okay, right? The other thing that's nice when you do it this way is your pupil is always going to be the center of that circle. So like if I take, let's go back to a bad drawing. If I take an eyeball and let's say I was here, if your pupil, you know, is off, that looks terrible. Yikes, right? So your pupil is always going to be centered in the middle. So we're going to sort of find the center, which is around here. So that'll be the pupil. This is the iris. Okay, and then you want to shade actually heavily. So right under here, right where the lash line is, especially the top lash line, because they're thicker, they're longer, you want to really make that thick. Then we're going to really fill in the pupil. There's going to be a darker ring around the iris. And you can use like a tissue or your finger to kind of shade. And I'm actually going to shade the whole thing a little bit. There we go. The corner here, I'm going to give a little bit of a shade. So we call it the white of the eye, but it's really, it picks up a lot of shadows. And then I'm going to come up here. And in this corner, shade it a little bit too. Not too much there. There we go. And from here, you could, draw as much detail, find a photo and draw it as much detail as possible, whatever you see. But the basic structure is here. And then I'm going to draw, on the crease, continue to shade. And down here, at an angle, you can sort of shade this piece of skin right here underneath too. And